We are going to read My Father's Dragon, Chapter 7, My Father Meets a Lion. Here's our reading objective for today. You can go ahead and repeat after me. We can make predictions by using what we already know about familiar characters. The word familiar means characters that we already know or have seen or read about before. Because we're reading a chapter book, our characters are the same that they've been throughout the last few reading lessons. So when we make predictions as readers, remember predictions are guesses about what is going to happen in the story. We can make predictions using what you already know about the characters. So remember, the prediction is what will happen. Really good readers, second graders, use evidence to prove their prediction. So evidence means what makes you think that. Okay, so it says use evidence from the text and what you know about the characters. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to make a prediction about what might happen if our chapter is called My Father Meets a Lion. When you're done, go ahead and unpause the video and take a look at my prediction for today's chapter. Okay, here's my prediction. Here's what I think will happen. I think the main character will make the lion so busy that he will forget that the main character, whose name is Elmer, is there. What makes me think that? I'll tell you. I think this because he did this when he gave the tigers the bubblegum and when he gave the rhinoceros the toothpaste. I, as a reader, am starting to notice a pattern between what happens each chapter. It seems like Elmer, the main character, might do something similar to what he did to the tigers and the rhinoceros to the lion. Before we get started with the reading today, I want to go over a few vocabulary words that you will see. The first one is a main, right? We can spell main a different way, M-A-I-N, and that means like the main street or the main character. This main is the part that the arrow is pointing to of the lion, right? It's his furry hair around his face, okay? They also use the word snarl. A snarl in this case is when he's trying to groom his hair, he's getting stuck with big knots. Some of you might have that problem when you're combing your hair as well. The other and last word that goes along with all of these is grooming, right? When you're grooming something, you're making it look pretty, right? You're brushing your hair, you're cutting your hair, you're shaving, you're looking in the mirror to see how you look, right? You can see all these things around the dog that a dog might use for grooming, all right? So let's go ahead and get started with today's story. All right, Chapter 7, My Father Meets a Lion. I want everyone to think about the prediction they made as we're reading, and I want you to see if your prediction was correct. My father waved goodbye to the rhinoceros, who was much too busy to notice, got a drink farther down the brook, and waded back to the trail. He hadn't gone very far when he heard an angry animal roaring. "Ding, blast it! I told you not to go blackberry berrying yesterday. Won't you ever learn? What will your mother say?" My father crept along and peered into a small clearing just ahead. A lion was prancing about, clawing at his mane, which was all snarled, there's that vocab word, and full of blackberry twigs. The more he clawed, the worse it became, and the madder he grew, and the more he yelled at himself, because it was himself he was yelling at all the time. My father could see that the trail went through the clearing, so he decided to crawl around the edge in the underbrush and not disturb the lion. He crawled, and yelling grew louder and louder. Just as he was about to reach the trail on the other side, the yelling suddenly stopped. Uh-oh. My father looked around and saw the lion glaring at him. That means looking at him very strongly, right? The lion charged and skidded to a stop a few inches away. "Who are you?" the lion yelled at my father. My name is Elmer Elevator." That's the first time the character has actually told us his full name. "Where do you think you are going?" I'm going home," said my father. "That's what you think," said the lion. "Ordinarily, I'd save you for afternoon tea, but I happen to be upset enough and hungry enough to eat you right now." And he picked at my father in his front paws to feel how fat he was. My father said, "Oh, please, lion, before you eat me, tell me why you are so particularly upset today." "It's my mane," said the lion, as he was figuring how many bites the little boy would make. "You see what a dreadful mess it is, and I don't seem to be able to do anything about it. My mother is coming over on the dragon this afternoon, and if she sees me this way, I'm afraid she'll stop my allowance. She can't stand messy manes. But I'm going to eat you now, so it won't make any difference to you." Oh, wait a minute," said my father, "and I'll give you just the things you need to make your mane all tidy and beautiful. I have them here in my pack." "You do?" said the lion. "Well, give them to me, and perhaps I'll save you for afternoon tea after all." And he put my father down on the ground. My father opened the pack and took out the comb and the brush and the 7 hair ribbons of different colors. "Look," he said, "I'll show you what to do on your forelock, where you can watch me. First, you brush a while. Then you comb, and then you brush again until all the twigs and snarls are gone. Then you divide it up in 3 and braid it like this and tie a ribbon around the end." As my father was doing this, the lion watched very carefully and began to look much happier. When my father tied the ribbon, he was all smiles. "Oh, that's wonderful. Really wonderful," said the lion. "Let me have the comb and brush to see if I can do it." So my father gave him the comb and brush, and the lion began busily grooming his mane. As a matter of fact, he was so busy that he didn't even know when my father left. And that's a picture of the lion with all the hair stuff in. It's one of my favorite pictures of the whole book. All right, let's head back to our PowerPoint here. All right, so we've been doing this at the end of every chapter. I want you to get a sticky note or a piece of paper, and when you finish a chapter, write a sentence or two about what happened. Leave it at the end of the chapter so you can come back to it later. So make sure you leave it somewhere where you can see it before we start reading the next chapter, okay? So go ahead and pause this video and unpause when you're ready to check your answer with what I wrote. So here's my example. In Chapter 7, Elmer helps the lion with his messy mane by giving him hair ribbons. Then the lion was so busy grooming his mane that he forgot about Elmer. That's 2 sentences exactly. It tells me a summary of what happened. All right. Now that you've finished that, I want you to go ahead and try answering these comprehension questions. You're going to pause your video after each question, try and answer it to yourself, and then go ahead and check your answer. Why was the lion so upset? Go ahead and pause the video and unpause when you're ready. He had blackberry twigs stuck in his mane, and he was worried for his mom to see him such a mess that she would stop his allowance. An allowance, students, some of you might get an allowance. It's when your family members give you money for doing chores or for having certain things done. So the lion was upset that he won't get the money he needed from his mom. And that was found on page 52. As always, good readers show where they found the text evidence for their answers. Question 2. What did Elmer do to help the lion? Go ahead and pause your video here and unpause when you're ready. He gives him a comb, brush, and ribbons and showed him how to make his mane pretty. That's found on page 54. We already knew the answer to this question if you did an awesome job writing down the summary of the chapter, right? But just making sure everyone remembers that that's what he did to help, okay? All right, your third comprehension question is to fill out your reading response sheet of your choice based off of what we read today in My Father's Dragon, Chapter 7. All right, students, you did a great job making predictions about what happened in the text. My prediction happened to be correct. They are following a pattern here in this story, right? So let's go back to that original slide. All right, my prediction that the main character will make the lion so busy that he will forget the main character Elmer is there, that was correct, right? So now what my father has done is he's given Tiger's bubblegum, he's giving the rhinoceros toothpaste, and he gave the lion hair ribbon. So he's really helping them out, which makes me think that the cat really knew what advice to give to Elmer. It seems like all the things that he has in his bag are really helping him. So again, students, really good readers make predictions on their own, and we learned today that we can make predictions using what we already know about the characters. All right, students, that's it for our lesson today. I will talk to you soon. Enjoy!